Hello, my neurospicy witches. My name is Cosmic Cat, and welcome to my channel, the Cosy Coven. Whether you're new or returning, I welcome you with love and compassion. So I'm here in the woods today with my forest familiar Yucca. Yucca, say hello. And I've been procrastinating on filming some content for this channel for ages. I think I had a bit of the procrastination, perfectionism thing going on. I was thinking it has to be perfect, it has to be lots of transitions and filming different parts of my day, and I have to script it and I have to research it, and all this has done is meant that I just have gone a long time without posting anything. And so the inspiration struck me today to just take my camera, take my little tripod. Sorry, I'm filming this on my phone and my tripod. Head out into the woods because I'm walking Yucca anyway, and yeah, just talk to camera about something. And the something that I decided to talk about is this new season that we're emerging into. If you're in the northern hemisphere, that is, we're on the cusp of spring. So the spring equinox this year is on the 20th. At least it falls on the 20th for me in the UK. And the spring equinox, or Ostara as it used to be called, Ostara was the spring festival where people of old celebrated the goddess Eostra, the Germanic goddess of spring, and it's believed that's where the term for Easter comes from. So that was something that Christianity adopted. Christianity throughout history has adopted a lot of, or reappropriated a lot of, pagan festivals and terms and even goddesses in some cases. But the history of all of that is very complex, and I think sometimes I see creators trying to simplify it. So anyway, the spring equinox is on the 20th. What does this mean? So it means that's the beginning of spring. I know it might not look very springtime behind me. It's quite a dull day that I've decided to film. It was very sunny yesterday and very bright and fresh. There's a little bit more of a chill in the air again today, but I think it's just a reminder that we're not quite in spring yet. Of course, with global warming and everything and climate change, our seasons are not as defined as they used to be. I feel there's more fluctuation. But the spring equinox, for me, it really is a good time for planting intentions, new seeds of creation, thinking about what dreams I want to bring forward into reality. Because for me personally, springtime, summer, that's when I feel more energized. I feel more motivated to take action, whereas in autumn and winter, my energy slows down. I feel more like curling inwards and being insular and taking more time to meditate and reflect on my own. And I think that's very natural. That's very much about what being a witch for me means. It's like living seasonally. It's reattuning myself to nature and Mother Earth's natural rhythms instead of trying to force myself to keep up with what society expects of me. I'm also autistic, and so I regulate my nervous system by being in nature, and I'm in nature every single day. And the more time I spend in nature, the more I'm reminded that I am nature, that we are all a part of nature, not separate from it. So this month in my Cosy Coven membership, I'm hosting a little online ceremony on the 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day. But instead of celebrating St. Patrick, we're going to be celebrating some of the Celtic and Irish goddesses of old who were perhaps, I don't want to say eradicated, because again, I feel like that is very much simplifying history, but they existed before Christianity, let's say. And there is a theory that there's this story that St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland. From a scientific geographical perspective, there are no snakes in Ireland because of the way the ice melted after the Ice Age. But a lot of people, and that's like physical snakes, but a lot of people believe that the snakes was a metaphor for the Druids or paganism or pagan traditions in Ireland. So it's not me trying to disrespect St. Patrick or Christianity, because I actually walk both paths. So I'm very much involved in pagan traditions and witchcraft practices, and I'm polytheistic. But I do also go to church every Sunday, and I honour Jesus and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, and there is that Christian aspect to myself as well. So it's not a diss to St. Patrick that I want to honour Celtic goddesses, but I just wanted to do something a little bit different. And also for me, it's a way of reframing St. Patrick's Day, because I am Irish, if you can't tell from my accent. I grew up in Northern Ireland, and it was always just a day where I used it as an excuse to get really drunk. I don't drink anymore. I've been sober for quite some time, but I wanted to make it a day of spiritual reflection and a celebration of the divine feminine as well. So I'm doing that online on the 17th. It's free for members. If you're not a member, you can join the Cosy Coven membership. The link is below, or if you want to join as a one-off, that's an option too. Just comment, send me a message, and yeah, I can make that happen for you. The other thing I wanted to talk about in this video is what I've been foraging lately. So I got into foraging a couple of years ago, I'd say. It started by just, looking at what was in my garden and being really curious, like, can I eat that? Can I eat that? Can I eat this thing that looks like a weed, or that people say is a weed? So I've picked a couple of things. So these are just a couple of things that I've been foraging lately. So this is garlic mustard. It smells like garlic, but it's actually a part of the mustard family. It's nothing to do with garlic itself. So I found this the other day. I like to forage very intuitively, so I will ask the tree spirits, the spirits of the earth, spirits of the forest, the fae, to guide me when I'm out walking, when I'm out exploring the forest, and I'll be like, guide me to something that my body needs right now, or that will be healing for me in mind, body, or spirit. And I was guided to this the other day, and at first I thought it was wild garlic, or a type of wild garlic, because it smells very much like garlic, but turns out it's garlic mustard. So this is great when used in a culinary situation. So you can use it in salads, you can use it in garnishes, but it's also very medicinal as a tea. So cleansing, detoxifying, good for colds and flu and the immune system and that sort of thing. It smells good. The other thing I've got here is cleavers. So cleavers, very easy to identify because they're sticky, also known as sticky weed, robin run the hedge because they take over the hedge, sticky willy. They have many different folk names. Cleavers are really a beautiful herb for women especially. They're very regulatory, very cleansing, detoxifying, really good for the lymphatic system, good for the skin. So I like to use cleavers. I've used them before. I've blended them up in a pesto with nettle and dandelion leaves. A word of caution, if you're going to use them raw in salads, like make sure that you cut them up really fine, because it's not pleasant when you get sticky weed stuck in your throat. You can also just, use them fresh in a tea or infuse them in water and make a nice refreshing cold spring tonic with sparkling water and a bit of lemon. That's lovely. The other thing I have here, so I have got nettle. I've got stinging nettle. Stinging nettle has so many different health benefits. Obviously you have to be careful when you're picking it, but being stung by nettle has its own medicinal benefits as well. It's quite good for inflammation in itself, just being stung by a nettle. If you don't want to be stung by a nettle, wear gloves. But yeah, stinging nettle is really good for inflammation. It's really good for women when you're on your period to replace your iron reserves. And yeah, it's got, if you do your own research, you'll find that nettle has so many health and medicinal benefits. Again, you can eat it, if you wilt the leaves, you can cook it, use it like spinach. I like to blend it up and use it in a pesto. Of course, you can use it in a herbal tea or dry it, use it in a cold tonic, all of those things. You'll also see white dead nettle, red dead nettle. So they look very much like nettle. They have the same health benefits, more or less, but they don't sting. My partner, who's from Norfolk, told me that in Norfolk they say that white dead nettle, they have pixie boots on them because it's a way, the white flowers are pixie boots because it's the way for the pixies to tell you that it's safe to pick, which I thought was really sweet. So I'm actually creating a white dead nettle tincture at the moment with vinegar in a jar at home. So I'm interested to use that plant more medicinally. And finally, I've got some cow parsley. So people will often fearmonger about cow parsley and say, be really careful about foraging this because you don't want to confuse it with hemlock, which is deadly. But yes, and also I do think it's quite difficult to make that mistake personally. Of course, if in doubt, don't eat it, and that goes for anything that you're foraging. Make sure you're IDing it correctly. If in doubt, just don't. But so cow parsley, the first thing is the smell. Like if you take a little bit, you rub it between your fingers, it smells like parsley or aniseed, whereas hemlock has a really horrible pungent smell. The second thing is it has hollow stems, so my camera probably won't focus on it, but it has hollow stems. So if you look in the stem, you can see there's just a little hole, and this will be bigger or smaller depending on the size of the plant that you pick. So they used to use cow parsley actually to make candles for the poor, because you could pour the wax in and use it as a little mold. I've also read that the dried stems could be buried and be used to ward off evil. Folk names for cow parsley include mother dye, because people used to call it mother dye to discourage children from picking it in case they accidentally picked deadly hemlock. But yeah, it's got this sort of triangular shape, hollow stems, and yeah, again, you can use that raw in salads, you can cook it, make a herbal tea, and it's really like, yeah, cleansing, detoxifying, good for inflammation, I think, as well, good for the urinary tract, so all of those things. So that's just a few things I've been foraging this month so far. Yeah, this is all I really wanted to share. I'll finish by telling you a little bit about the woods that I'm in. So this area where I live is called the Ranges. It's reclaimed slag heap land, so it's reclaimed mining land. I'm from a town that used to be a mining town. All the coal mines closed down in the UK in the 80s following strikes, and Margaret Thatcher wanted to close down all the coal mines. But there's a lot of places like this where the land has been reclaimed, replanted. I just had to pause filming for a second while we were visited by a very boisterous husky. That was fun. But yes, there's lots of places like this where the land has been reclaimed, replanted with native woodland, and as you can see around me, this place is absolutely thriving. It's teeming with different species of birds, plants. It's fully alive, and yeah, the soil, because it is old slag heap, it's really good for a lot of plants and things that don't thrive well in very rich and fertile soil. There's a lot of plants that prefer more harsh environments. But yeah, I love coming here. I love connecting to the tree spirits, the woodland spirits, the spirits of the land. And I also honor the people who worked this land before, and I think about them when I walk here. So this is all I have for today. I'm sending you lots of love and lots of light. If you're interested in joining my online Cosy Coven membership, The links are below. Feel free to ask me any questions, and I wish you a beautiful spring equinox and season, however you choose to celebrate and honour it.